Hey everybody, Dave Cook, the Franco Painting Wallpaper, and we're doing a quick video on some hidden costs of painting walls. So we're going to combine a bunch of shorts together in a row so you can kind of see all the different things that we are looking for, but things that may come up after we start the job that we didn't see during the estimate, that we want to make sure you know of before we start painting so you get the so you get a great result. There you go. All right, I'm just doing a quick video on this wall as doing an estimate. You know, we measured up, wall looks great. Depending on the light, some stuff from our perspective and from this view, the wall looks pretty good. But then different times of the day or different perspectives. So when we come down and look at the wall from this perspective, I'm just going to show it. There you go. Now you can kind of see where someone else did some drywall repair in several areas, never covered. Well, that's going to take us extra time to fix all of these areas. And then the other issue, if you look from the side, it looks dull, but actually there are really big divots in the wall. The other side of this wall is a bathroom, and it is a jagged cut, and you can, when the light hits it perfectly, you can see the jagged cut on this. It just never was done right the right time. So right now it's flat paint, so you don't see it. So that's a perk. Put flat paint, you're not gonna see this stuff. However, if you put an eggshell on this, it's gonna stick out like a sore thumb. So now you have to decide what type of finish do you want on your wall and how perfect are you looking for your wall to be. Getting this to a really, really good surface so it looks flat, smooth, and consistent across a wall is probably about a 3-hour ordeal for us, because you're now this whole area is getting mudded and then primed, sanded. So it's quite an event to get an area that's been neglected like this to a really good level 4 finish. Hey everybody, Dave Cook, the Franco Painting Wallpaper, just doing. Hey everybody, David Cook with the Franco Painting Wallpaper, just doing some quick videos on expectations when painting. So I just want to do this one for accent walls. So even though we do repairs on the corners, insides, outs, one thing is sometimes, and once you get closer, it'll drive you nuts, but even with the closest and best mud work, there's only so much of an angle and so much of a straight line we can make to follow the actual angle. So in this case, we just took a piece of tape, started, went down all the way, and created a straight line, even though the paint goes a little bit on the ceiling. So it's kind of something to think about when you're getting straight lines. You may not be able to get a perfectly straight line if following the exact drywall. So there's a video on bathrooms. This bathroom was painted. It was kind of a throw-in. We just did it. One of the issues with bathrooms, as you can see, there is no vent anywhere up here. This house is probably about 18 years old, but there's no place for air to go out when the shower goes on. So heavy humidity, all that humidity goes straight up to the ceiling. And if it was painted in flat like this one was, the problem is you have issues with moisture now having degraded the paint or the drywall. So we go to roll and all of a sudden the paint starts peeling off. There's no way we could know that ahead of time, but it's something to think about. We're not trying to cause work. A lot of that kind of stuff we don't want to have to worry about and not have to fix, but it's something that could happen if you're painting a bathroom. No ceiling fans, it's older. You could have issues with the paint starting to come off because of water damage that you cannot see. All right, here's a quick one on video on closets. This is all done. I should have done the video beforehand, but I didn't. So all these things were mounted to the walls, and they decided to just take them out. They're gonna leave the base ones against the wall, but they're not gonna mount them. But it had shelves. All these shelves were mounted to the walls in here. The problem is when we bid on painting, we're painting, and we were painting around everything. And then once they decided they want everything out, every 12 to 16 inches, there's holes which all have to be filled. So now you're talking about just painting a wall another color versus you're filling all these holes. In this closet, it was about 4.5 hours of mud work to fill all the holes, all the lines. It was a ton of work. So something to think about with closets. May not be that simple if you're filling all these holes from previously mounted brackets. So here's a quick video, painting wise. Chad's doing a final walk through the customer, but we're just doing, again, some things to look at or think about when we're doing walls. We're saying it's a like level 1, level 2, but we're just pole sanding, so we're just going on the wall. if there's above and beyond 30 minutes per room, which this room had quite a bit more, because on these outside edges, previous painters had rolled the paint this way, so there was a lot of buildup, so we had to power sand that off, which is extra. The other part was previous drips and runs, which was extra. All that stuff came about once we started putting white and a sheen to the wall. Before it was flat, you didn't see anything. The other part was they had drywall company in here, and when they put mud on there, it had little tiny pinholes, like air bubbles all over. So we had to remud that after the drywall guys were done. So it's something else that gets into extra from traditional prep before paint. All right, so here's a quick video on issues with paint and paint prep, speakers and speaker covers. These things, they're all a little different and a little different, unique in how they're put up. Typically, we do not take these down at all because of the mounting brackets are kind of weird. So we paint around them, mask them so we don't get paint on them. Issues can happen like canned recessed lights. The springs are old, and as soon as you mess with them, they break or they bend, and then they don't go back up. So typically, these speaker covers, if you have canned lighting, we don't put that stuff back on just because we don't know what's going to happen, so we can't guarantee it's going to go back up exactly like it was. Just a kind of a FYI. All right, here's a quick video on repairs to drywall. These seams, especially as a two-story foyer, so these seams up here, you never know how it's going to happen. We fix them, we do our best to make sure they go away. The problem is we don't know what's going to happen with winter, with weight, with house moving. So this could crack tomorrow. We just don't know. We do our best to fix it the right way. However, it could break again. So that we just don't warranty these kind of cracks. We'll fix them. There's no way we can warranty because we just don't know what the house is going to do, weather, etc. So it's kind of an FYI. If you see a lot of cracks, these stress cracks, we fix them, but we can't warranty them. Here's another issue sometimes that you may come across with you doing it yourself or otherwise painting, especially window frames. These older clips are very fragile, and the more yellow they are, the more fragile they are. So you have to be really careful when you're working on these. You want to pull them down. I'm not doing it because we broke 15 of them. Pull them down to get it out, otherwise slide it out. The newer ones are a little bit different, but these older ones are really fragile and they'll break. And if they don't break here, they'll break at the mounting bracket inside where that little clip, it has a little hook, and it'll break right in the top there. So be really careful with these when taking them off. You don't break them because they're really hard to find. We had to go to Amazon and we found a comparable one. Wasn't exact, but it was close enough that it looks good.